That was a long one, but we got to it. Not too bad, though. We didn't do too bad. Too bad. I'm gonna try, yes. I got another 2 hours worth of streaming tonight, so I'm gonna try my best to finish this case tonight. And then tomorrow, I may do a bonus stream, or Friday do a bonus stream, to get this game done before the new year. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended on a giant mystery. That's true. And we still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Got the saucy weenies. Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. Okay, fine. Maybe I'll schedule this for next week then. How about that? Will that make you guys happy? I'm gonna finish this game. It may not be before the new year, but I'm gonna finish it ASAP. This is the only long-form game I'm playing. No. What do you want from me? No, that wasn't doubt. That was, determination. Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You better get going to the defendant's seat. Roger. Don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. This is actually a lot longer than I thought it would be, to be perfectly honest. And it's because I'm an idiot. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. How did you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Yeah, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of the aromatherapy bottles. A small bottle that turned up in Trebian's kitchen a couple of days ago. Oh, look at all these little bottles. Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many, they're overflowing onto the floor. Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others. Ooh, I'd love to play that game again. That game I fucking loved. I'd use a guide, though. Well, what do you know? And it doesn't even have a label. It doesn't have a label either. And I forgot everything about it. And it doesn't smell. We finally got the analysis result back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears? You mean... Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. Whatever Glenn Elg's ear medicine... What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? Unidentified fingerprints. Ah! What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but... That's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today. Got it? Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. Here we go, courtroom. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor. Very good. Then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. Phoenix left. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows the victim drank from it with his right hand. But according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Godot. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. Okay. It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick? Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. You've lost me already, Mr. Godo. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You gotta change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions? You know the answers to these riddles? The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here. He was throwing us off the scent. And today I'll prove it. Very well. Let the first witness take the stand. Honey. And you are? Oh, bonjour everyone! I am Jean Armstrong, the owner and head chef of La Très Bien restaurant. Enchanté! His little bum! Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Ha! Ha! Ooh la la, monsieur! As you can see, I am la petit plucky gentleman. Non? You can't just ask that, Judge! On the day of the incident, you were in Très Bien's kitchen. Isn't that right? Was you, monsieur? Everything feels right. Ah! Huh. Wow, he's totally unfazed. Does anything intimidate this guy? Very well. Your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Très Bien. Oui, volontiers. Just ask for pronouns, honey, not. Oh my god. When it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with the new art decos that day. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. There it is! That's what I was thinking. The old man saw it in a mirror. He was outside. He wasn't... Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. Oh, never mind, he's explaining it. Shit. La cup, la earpiece, and la glasses. It would have seen everything in reverse, no? Stupid nose. Mirror? Oui, un grand mirror. La most enormous mirror. And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. No, I was never on track team. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? I'm way too early in the morning for this to be happening. Why? Why should I? Because I'm always leaping? Is that where you're going? That is such a dad joke! Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination, as you did it again. Bring the cake to the... God. And who were the 2 customers, exactly? Of course, la young man who died, and la other not-so-young man. You're referring to yesterday's witness, I presume? What about the other man Maggie says she saw at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose its existence. We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we? I guess I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being. You were experimenting with Art Deco? How come I never heard about that before today? You are not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur. Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before? But I did, just a few moments ago. Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong. This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decouture? No, Art Deco. It's a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design. Walls, ceilings, carpets, that kind of thing. Oh yes, of course. That deco. I was trying to achieve a more feminine look for my restaurant. Everything just corner. I was planning the most bold remodeling of the decor. Like having a large meal between the tables, for example. Between the tables? Then he wouldn't have seen anything. How big of a mirror are we talking about here? Something about 4 meters wide and, about 2 meters high. Let's see, if 1 meter is about 1 yard. Holy glass at a frame, that's huge! I was intending to install it in the ceiling eventually. The ceiling? Was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember. The pantaloon? No. But I decided not to go zoo with it in the end. What should I do? Should I ask him more about the mirror or not? Always press harder. Nerd. If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. But there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggie Bird's testimonies. But... Objection! You didn't ask, Wright. You only have yourself to blame for such sloppy work. What? A mirror was delivered to Trebien the day before the incident. Really? As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes. And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror in the end. This just doesn't add up. Even if the mirror was delivered to Trebien, it doesn't prove that it was in the restaurant on the day of the crime. Huh. If you want to doubt someone, Wright, look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough. So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror. Normally, I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object. Objection. Normally? How does normality come into this? That's lame, Wright. Even for you. Huh? Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it? Where does that leave the pork-you-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask over here? Well, Wright? Ah! Not the hair! I don't have a top knot! I do not have to... Mr. Godo was correct. A lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument. Bien, logic as one la day. Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse? Oui. Hey, Nick. We should take a second think about what old Seedy said in his testimony. How do you phrase it again? The boy's wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. Everything he described reflected in a mirror, and everything he said we saw on the left was actually on the right, huh? And that clears up all the problems of this testimony, I guess. Or does it? Huh. It's kind of hard to believe everything's the fault of a mirror, but... Do you think old Seedy saw everything through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony. This makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's gotta be something in that old man's testimony. We just gotta dig deeper. Okay, I'm not gonna tell you guys what I'm thinking, but I'm thinking. I'm saving before I do it, but I'm pretty sure. So you would have seen it. So originally, if he's looking in a mirror, everything with his left or whatever, so it would explain why, oh, it was on his right side, picked it up with his right hand, okay, whatever. His eyepiece has always been on the left side, so it would have been also reversed. Get that vault ready. Hurdles time, baby! Because, yeah, that's on his left side right now. Okay. Fuck. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. And let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? The boy's wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. So, to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw that as a reflection in a mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactement! You see, monsieur? Now that you think about it, it's not so odd, no? Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order, order! Mr. Wright is correct! If the witness genuinely observed the victims reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye. Objection! How bitter. That's right, you should have tasted this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee, or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks? You remember this, I presume? The I broke the vase. Sorry, apology. Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly. The old man has one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg? Clearly, it's the victim's eyepiece. And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear. Huh. Well, Trite. That's the worst but best impression of Kudo ever. Oh. Oh, I really thought he was all seedy for a minute there. I read it wrong. Godo's good. Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of contradiction you found is just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears. Oui, I can explain. Please, if you will look at the pans of the restaurant. Hello? Is everyone sitting comfortably? Lamia, it was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There's only one seat from which you could have seen an image of la victim. That was the seat at the table next to la victim. That was where the old man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. I see no problems with the explanation we have just heard. On the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this. Don't worry about it. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in the cold sweat over there again. I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volunteers, of course. Very well. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, if you please. Any nut. Mirror. So, run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? Oui. Oui? Really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way. Objection. Look who's talking, Trite. Huh? You're obstructing my view, among other things. But this is my seat in the courtroom! Très bien's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way. Unlike you, Trite. I tell you, monsieur, la mirror was there in the middle of the restaurant. Let's see for which. And where would that be? Oh la la! Look how you lean towards me! I always attract the younger boys. Maybe I should keep you in suspense a little longer. Ah! Mr. Armstrong, tell the court what you know at once. I attract the older ones too, you know. Handsome. Shall I tease you too? Oh God! I'm already seeing a very hot someone, so I'm afraid you'll be waiting for a long time. I bet she has mocha cream mocha cream skin and cappuccino perfume. Oh no! Bien, I will tell you. There was only one table which you could have seen. That was the seat at the table next to the victims. That was where the old man was sitting. So why can you only see the victim from that particular seat? Monsieur. Monsieur. Is it obvious, no? If you look at the plans, you will understand. The victim would have been reflected in the mirror like so. If you're sitting at the table next to him, you would see everything, no? Let's see how he was sitting on that day, when the poisoning happened. The old man was sitting at the table next to the victim? Why does that seem kind of odd? Good God, Honey Nut! Did you move the mirror while Mr. Kudo was off calling the police? Oui, exactement. I carried it out of the restaurant then. You moved a huge mirror like that all by yourself? What can I say? I know how to pick things up, handsome. Bills are ready. Godo actually laughed at something. Well, given the witness's physique, I suppose it is possible. Did you move anything else from the crime scene, Mr. Armstrong? I look like the obliging type, no? Are you sure about that? I touched nothing except la mia. Mr. Wright, is there something the witness has said that doesn't match the crime scene? Yeah, there is. I just can't put my finger on what exactly. Suffering from a case of heartburn, right? Oh, I was just listening for that. In oil with a golden mirror and Frankenstein's. And a few drops to your coffee. And voila, enjoy. Focus, Phoenix. Breathe. I need to ignore those two and just find some evidence. And the quorum doesn't exist. Honey Nut. Pretty strange though, isn't it? I mean, nobody mentioned anything about a really large mirror. Maybe somebody would have, but Maggie didn't. Neither did old CD. And the only logical explanation is that there was no mirror inside Très Bien that day. I'll prove it somehow. Ah! Come on! Touch anything else? What? Is it the bag? Oh, I'm saving because I'm gonna fuck something up. It's the victim's ear medicine. I feel like there's something like right here, like this talk about. Thanks, Steel, I appreciate that. Hi! Yes, my justice is blind and stupid, good to know. Wait. Oh, I'm jumping ahead again. That's the victim's seat. Oh, it doesn't show where Mr. Arm, or where the old guy sat. Shit. Wait, the vase isn't broken. Wait, what? I'm jumping all over the place! Fuck, it's like a Nutcracker ballet with me. It's not broken! Look at it! The what? That doesn't matter. The partition doesn't matter because... Okay, check that, okay. But if you look at the, because we have new... We don't have new. But they showed the mirror. It had the partition there. See, the partition's right there. And it's showing that they would have seen it, so I don't know how to refute that. Because it said he was sitting where the dots are leading from. Yeah, see, he was sitting right there. Victim was right there. I don't... What am I missing? God damn it, you guys! What am I missing? He slumped over. Coffee cup is spilled. Is Victor the old guy? I can't remember his testimony. I literally can't. It's been 3 months. I don't remember his testimony. That's the problem. Did he say he was sitting against the partition? Just present it. Okay. He said, sorry about breaking the vase. We've heard, Your Honor. The crime photo. Yes. This photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist. Sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite. Are you... I was right about the vase! You... Ah! You threw me off! I was like, hey, the vase isn't broken. You're like, why the fuck are you going to the vase? What about the partition? I got my booster shot! This is why I have trust issues. I was fucking right about the vase. Jesus Christ! Oh, my controller's out. Oh my god! Try this. Huh. Sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite. Now then, the defense would please clarify its statement. What is something that should not exist in this photo? What? Did you see the same thing, Steele? Take that! I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture. The vase. Also... Yeah, okay. Because the old man was sitting on the window side. They're not sitting on the window side. Everyone was saying they were sitting on... Okay, ooh, they moved them. The vase? What possible connection does that have with this witness's testimony? Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. There is one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there is no unbroken vase on this table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all. Objection. Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. That state's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Très Bien that day. I was on the right path! Ah! It's like a decade. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu! What is his dead inside eyes? He's still... Wow. Don't try to confuse the court, Wright. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting into the crime scene. Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary, in his own words. I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Ugh. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? I was right. There was no mirror in that restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear which he couldn't hear? Huh. You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Wright, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? Trusted you as God. If I can answer this, then I'll be much closer to the truth. I can feel it. Are you gonna be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just one this one contradiction, Maya. I'm saving it real quick just in case. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason. Why nothing in this case is adding up. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. The victim was a phony. This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet, there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was imposter. A phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. Order in the court. Settle down, or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Trite. Are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. For a spit take, someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo. Objection. Get real, Trite. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was... Serving girl brought him a Giovacchino, but she put something in it. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. It's so hard to believe, but... There was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee. Objection. Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there was no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. That's right. Well, witness, is your restaurant really the scene of such theatrics? You would have known about it, correct? Ooh la la! This is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you had to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Très Bien that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You'll accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. Oui. The restaurant. Le victim, Monsieur L, he came to my restaurant alone. I remember la old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word that he won the lottery, Mon L became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. None. There was no time for a phony to do la acting. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all. Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly.
PogChamp.
Morin, thank you so much for that subscription. 11 months with your Prime. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Almost a year, man. Thank you. Awesome. How you doing tonight? What you have just done is committed perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I'll decide how to punish you later.
Oui.
For now, we will hear your cross-examination. Mr. Wright, if you please. He took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. In the restaurant. Was he alone at his table as well? Ma oui. I saw him from the kitchen. Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table. About working in my game for some... Nice, man. Ha! Unfortunately for you, Wright. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite. What kind of coffee has he been drinking? It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet. Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oui, it comes here often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur! You are most welcome anytime! I said it was worth one sip, and nothing more. Punch me. Oh god, Steel! We're in the restaurant at the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. What time was it? Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh, no. I cannot remember, monsieur.
I believe we were told by a witness yesterday.
Time was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir.
Will that perhaps jog your memory, witness?
The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10 p.m., no? Just after 2, huh? Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful.
Ha ha ha. I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? Time of day will be added to the witness's testimony.
Oui, monsieur judge. Everything I do it for you.
Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? Ha ha ha.
Well, at least one person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. Ha 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 ha. 2 p.m. Are you absolutely sure about the time? Well, I think really odd. I am sure it's just after 2. Oui. It's the time I stopped serving the lunch menu.
Right. I always break for lunch when the restaurants are serving their specials. I've been known to wind up a case early just to make it on time.
Haha. I guess you should never get between a hungry judge and his lunch.
Oh, would you look at that? It's almost lunchtime already.
Witness, get on with your testimony, please. Yeah, I already know he's... He said he had just won the lottery. Okay, actually, hold on a second. You know, the customers... Okay, I need to do it at the right point, though. So let's press a little further. Sweet. I'm hungry right now. I want to get through this game so I can go eat. Like I can fan game. Mario Kart. Where Mr. Kudo and the victim?
Objection.
How many times do you need to ask the same thing, Trite? You never catch me drinking the same blend twice. You'd never catch. Huh? You'd be surprised. You're trying to establish the presence of a phony victim in the restaurant. Sounds good, actually. But you're wasting your time. You can't grind birdseed to make coffee, if you catch my drift. But there's a hole in this testimony somewhere. I'm sure of it! Did you see him? None. I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember him shouting, yes, I'm $500,000. Presumably the defendant heard that too. Then, correct? Maggie? She looked like a poor little frightened dog. What about Mr. Kudo? The old man choked on some birdseeds that got stuck in his throat.
Seems we now have yet another incident on our hands.
Poisoning incident occurred. And what were you doing at that point? Without any customers, you must have had time to kill. I am a multi-talented woman, monsieur. Sorry? What do you mean? There's le renowned chef, Jean Armstrong, and le tragic poet, Clarice Armstrong.
Clarice?
Oui, I was writing a poem in angry tale of a chef in $500,000 of debt. Cooking for a man who won $500,000 on the lottery. It is called Pourquoi? It means why? Pourquoi? Perhaps I could recite it for the court? Please don't. I'm doing it. Wait, I didn't mean to press. Damn it. I wanted to present. Oh, we're getting a bunch in right now. Good lord. Okay, I'm... Yep. Here we go. Yes, I did it right. So he said it came after 2, but he was listening for the lottery, which is only announced at 1:30. I'm afraid I've got you. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. Quoi? What do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Oui, that must be le show, man. Elk was listening to.
I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright.
I wonder. You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Oui, oui. I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was that time because I had just finished serving the lunch menu. Get to the point, Wright, if you have one. What, am I saying it wrong? Because if you're calling me out on saying something wrong, I'm gonna call you out, Steel. Don't you? I will. I swear to God, I will. That show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. And it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. Oh, I just love... Okay, I'm about to say... Because I heard you say something... You mispronounced something recently. I was just like... What? But I won't call you out, because you're not calling me out, so... Professional courtesy. Fight. Quoi? Bad Girls Club.
It's on the air at 1:30.
Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe this cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Committing to it? I mean, my trick's far better. Oh my god! Okay. I watched your most recent video. Kratos? You called him Kratos! Even in the game, they call him Kratos! Kratos! You called him Kratos! I'm sorry! Why, Steel? Why? There, I'm done. Sure, we can rumble. Now I'm ready for whatever punishment it's gonna get. Croutons! Game set. But that's not how it's not Tales of Symphonia. You were talking about God of War. The music is synced up. You weren't talking about Tales of Symphonia. You're talking about God of War. Crouton. Game set match. Wow. Okay, that's actually a crime. It is a really good way. It is a real. I actually enjoy the series for the story and the sex minigame. Anyway, moving on. Corner plays when Hawk is defending himself. Oh, yeah, that's actually really good. I need to do that on stream one of these days. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. No! This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum. Catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. This victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Kratos. But there were two Glen Elgs at Trebian that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer, and the phony Glen Elg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how do you explain the time discrepancy?
Objection!
Quite a performance, Wright. You're almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this? Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony Elg is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain then where the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time, the real Glen Elg was already dead.
That's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Objection!
Okay, here's where yeah. Thank you, Wright. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. But what? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours? Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elg, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim?
Toss back into the cup. Which was a valid point, Mr. Wright. Your theory is to stand up to examination by the court. You must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body?
Yes, Your Honor. No conjecture, Wright. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden.
Evidence?
What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden? Okay, here's the medicine. Man, with that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead.
Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Mr. L concealed?
Inside Trebian. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Trebian.
Interesting. Where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor. The exact location where the body was concealed inside Trebian is... The body was hidden here.
I see.
Nice supposition. But the real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle?
None. None. I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality only for me.
It's pure tar. Where's that bottle found, Mr. Wright?
Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Trebian.
Eh? Quoi? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils.
But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication.
What kind of medication?
I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elg visited an otolaryngologist. God damn it! Otolaryngology clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle matched the prescription that was given to Mr. Elg. Glen Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen?
Mon Dieu!
Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back.
No!
Falcon.
Order. This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glen Elg?
Never! I could not do such an horrible thing!
No! No! Oh.
Mr. Godot?
The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. You have a slight idea how many cups you have by now? Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear? My H-deficient friend.
Je vous demande pardon. Please, you must hear me out. It's a trap. Listen to me. Por favor.
Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish.
I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it?
None. No, none. Absolutely none. I...
Let's hear it. You got one shot. Right, Gramps?
Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. As does my gavel.
He's pure Kevin.
Oui, it is clear.
What do they always say in the movies? I've got a bad feeling about this.
Very well. Begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong.
The confession.
It is true. I ate the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me.
Oh, that Dr. Thunder. You were forced? By who?
I cannot say, or I will be erased.
Let's try a different question, then. When Mr. L died, was he really the only person at his table?
There was... There was another man.
I knew it. Maggie was telling the truth.
You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright.
There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. Go. Did you carry the body by yourself?
Oui, I carried them, and I carried Maggie too.
Maggie too?
When she saw the victim collapse, she fainted. I could not leave her there.
Why'd you hide the bodies?
They forced me to do it. I had no choice. What man? Who was he?
None, I cannot say. I fear for my life.
He's really scared. You just have to put the words in his mouth there, Nick.
Dom!
You're right. If you won't tell me, I'll tell him.
You go along with this man.
And what was that reason? What would that reason be, Mr. Armstrong?
You know, monsieur.
Yes.
Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment.
A maiden? You're a bit old to get away with that. A bit too male, and a bit too male. Just goes about establishing his reason. So I just have to prove it with evidence. So you're claiming that all you did was hide the bodies? Is that correct?
Oui, that is right.
We're to believe you, Mr. Armstrong. You must tell the court everything. Let's make clear the identity of the man who ordered you to do this.
Sorry, confess this much. He might as well stop dancing around the real issue. Yeah, but he doesn't really want to tell us who the killer is. And suck it to him, Nick! Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Okay, so I know... Here we go. You have a $500,000 debt, don't you?
$500,000? Is this true, Mr. Armstrong?
Oui. Je suis désolé. I was weak and I borrowed the money.
This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man. No, I know it's not him. A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you.
Oui, it is as you say.
Mr. Armstrong,
The tiger. He told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, I was the meeting the victim to. He was meeting a victim to demand repayment his loan. He repaid his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body in the inconsistent Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen.
I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre.
Yeah, I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong.
He did it because Glenn Elg was going to sell him the CD, but then he won the $500,000, so he could just pay him back without selling the CD, so he wasn't going to sell the CD or something. Something happened in their meeting that forced his hand.
Poison in the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket. Was that your doing as well?
No, I know nothing about that. Make it look like it was Maggie who had done it. I was not. It is despicable.
Mr. Godot, you will summon this Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow.
"30 minutes.
What?
The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more." How the... Don't sit back and relax yet, Trite. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial can still go either way.
Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We'll resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess.